In the heart of the 1960s, a period defined by cultural upheaval, social change, and the rise of countercultural movements, one man stood out as a living embodiment of rebellion and the American spirit of freedom. Born on October 8, 1938, in Modesto, California, Ralph Hubert Barger Jr. would go on to become an enduring symbol of the Hells Angels Motorcycle Club, steering it through the turbulent waters of the 1960s and beyond. This documentary seeks to unravel the layers of Sonny Barger's life, exploring the genesis of his journey from a young, spirited motorcyclist to the charismatic leader of one of the most notorious and iconic motorcycle clubs in history. Sonny Barger's story begins against the backdrop of post-World War II America, a time when the country was grappling with the aftermath of the war and undergoing a cultural metamorphosis. Born into a working-class family, Barger found an escape and a sense of purpose on the open road, as the hum of motorcycle engines became the soundtrack to his rebellious spirit. As a young man in the late 1950s, Barger found himself drawn to the camaraderie and freedom offered by the Hells Angels Motorcycle Club. Little did he know that this decision would set him on a path that would intertwine with the counterculture movement and define an era. The Hells Angels, initially a group of motorcycle enthusiasts seeking brotherhood, evolved into a symbol of anti-establishment defiance during the 1960s. This documentary aims to chronicle the life of Sonny Barger as he navigated the turbulent waters of the Hells Angels' transformation from a group of rebels on motorcycles to a symbol of rebellion against societal norms. The story unfolds through the lens of historical events, personal anecdotes, and the broader context of a nation undergoing seismic shifts in its cultural and political landscape. Join us on this journey as we explore the life and legacy of Sonny Barger, a man who rode with the devil, leaving an indelible mark on the history of motorcycle clubs and forever changing the perception of freedom, rebellion, and the pursuit of the American dream. As the engines roared and the winds of change swept through post-war America, young Ralph Hubert Barger Jr., or Sonny, found himself captivated by the allure of two wheels and the freedom they represented. Growing up in Modesto, California, in a blue-collar family, Sonny discovered early on that the open road held the promise of adventure and escape from the constraints of a conventional life. In the late 1950s, the Hells Angels Motorcycle Club was still in its infancy, a loose coalition of like-minded individuals seeking the thrill of the ride and the camaraderie that came with it. Sonny Barger, with his charismatic personality and an innate understanding of the bonds forged on the road, was drawn to the burgeoning subculture of motorcycle clubs. The Hells Angels, founded in 1948 in Fontana, California, had grown from a small group of rebels into a significant presence on the American motorcycling landscape. When Sonny joined their ranks, he became part of a brotherhood that thrived on the open road, living by their own rules and challenging societal norms. Sonny's ascent within the Hells Angels was rapid, a testament to his natural leadership qualities and his ability to navigate the complex dynamics of the motorcycle club. By 1957, he had assumed the role of president of the Oakland chapter, a position that would soon propel him into the spotlight as the face of the Hells Angels. During this period, the Hells Angels were not yet the infamous symbol of rebellion they would later become. Instead, they were a close-knit community of motorcycle enthusiasts, bonded by a love for the freedom the road offered and a disdain for societal norms that sought to confine them. The Hells Angels were, in essence, a fraternity of rebels on wheels, and Sonny Barger personified this spirit. As the 1960s dawned, a cultural revolution swept across America. The Hells Angels, with Sonny at the helm, found themselves at the epicenter of this upheaval. Their leather jackets, adorned with distinctive patches, became a symbol of defiance, and their roaring motorcycles echoed the rebellious spirit of a generation challenging the status quo. Sonny Barger's early years with the Hells Angels set the stage for the wild ride that lay ahead. The club's ethos was a fusion of brotherhood, freedom, and a refusal to conform. Little did they know that their journey would soon catapult them into the national spotlight, making the Hells Angels and Sonny Barger synonymous with the counterculture movement of the 1960s. The 1960s ushered in an era of unprecedented change, and as the cultural landscape of America transformed, the Hells Angels, under the leadership of Sonny Barger, found themselves at the forefront of a tumultuous and exhilarating ride. The motorcycle club evolved from a tight-knit group of rebels on wheels to an emblem of countercultural defiance against the backdrop of a nation grappling with war, civil rights movements, and an ever-growing generational divide. The Hells Angels, with their distinctive insignia and roaring Harley-Davidsons, embodied the spirit of rebellion that defined the 1960s. Sonny Barger, with his larger-than-life personality, became the face of the club, a charismatic leader who navigated the shifting tides of the counterculture movement with finesse. The 1960s saw the Hells Angels embracing their outlaw image, organizing wild parties, and reveling in the freedom of the open road. Their notoriety grew as they clashed with law enforcement, often finding themselves at the center of controversies that only fueled their rebellious mystique. The media, always hungry for sensational stories, eagerly covered the exploits of the Hells Angels, thrusting them into the national spotlight. Sonny Barger's autobiography, Hells Angel, The Life and Times of Sonny Barger and the Hells Angels Motorcycle Club, provides a first-hand account of the wild ride the club experienced during this period. The pages of his memoirs offer glimpses into the inner workings of the Hells Angels, detailing the brotherhood, the code of silence, and the unapologetic embrace of a lifestyle that defied societal norms. The Hells Angels' presence at iconic events, such as the Monterey Pop Festival in 1967, further solidified their place in the counterculture narrative. The distinctive roar of their motorcycles became a soundtrack to the rebellious spirit of the era. Yet, with the notoriety came challenges, and the Hells Angels found themselves entangled in legal battles, facing increased scrutiny from law enforcement agencies determined to rein in the perceived threat posed by the motorcycle club. As the Hells Angels rode the wave of rebellion, Sonny Barger emerged not just as a leader within the club but as a cultural icon. His interviews with the media, often laced with a blend of defiance and wit, showcased a man who embraced his outlaw persona with a sense of pride. However, beneath the surface of the public image lay a complex reality, a brotherhood bound by loyalty and a code that demanded silence in the face of adversity. The wild ride of the Hells Angels in the 1960s embodied the spirit of a generation challenging conventions and seeking freedom on their own terms. As the decade drew to a close, the Hells Angels, and Sonny Barger in particular, found themselves at a crossroads, their legacy forever intertwined with the counterculture movement, yet with challenges on the horizon that would test the strength of their brotherhood and resilience. The year was 1969, and the Hells Angels, led by Sonny Barger, stood on the precipice of infamy. The Altamont Speedway Free Festival, intended as a celebration of peace and music headlined by the Rolling Stones, would become a turning point in the history of the Hells Angels and their association with the counterculture movement. As the festival unfolded on December 6, 1969, at the Altamont Speedway in Northern California, the Hells Angels were hired as security for the event. However, the atmosphere quickly soured, and what was meant to be a harmonious gathering turned into a chaotic and violent episode. The Hells Angels, known for their rugged individualism and confrontational demeanor, clashed with concertgoers, resulting in several altercations. The situation took a tragic turn when Meredith Hunter, a young African-American man, was fatally stabbed by a Hells Angels member during the Rolling Stones performance. The incident was captured on film, forever linking the Hells Angels with the violence that unfolded at Altamont. Sonny Barger distanced himself and the Hells Angels from the tragic events, asserting that they were hired merely as security and were not responsible for the violence. However, the incident cast a dark shadow over the motorcycle club and solidified their association with mayhem in the public eye. The Altamont tragedy marked a turning point for the counterculture movement and the Hells Angels. The utopian ideals of peace and love that characterized the 1960s collided with the harsh reality of a changing cultural landscape. The Hells Angels, once celebrated as rebels embodying freedom, were now scrutinized as symbols of violence and chaos. The media, which had once glamorized the exploits of the Hells Angels, now turned a critical eye towards them. The notoriety surrounding Altamont overshadowed the rebellious charm of the motorcycle club, prompting society to question the true nature of their activities. The Hells Angels were no longer seen as the emblematic figures of anti-establishment freedom. Instead, they became synonymous with the darker side of counterculture. In the aftermath of Altamont, the Hells Angels faced increased scrutiny from law enforcement, leading to legal troubles for some members. Sonny Barger, ever the defiant leader, weathered the storm, maintaining that the Hells Angels were not accountable for the tragic events at the festival. The Altamont Speedway Free Festival became a pivotal moment in Sonny Barger's leadership and the Hells Angels' legacy. It forced a re-evaluation of the club's public image, challenging the romanticized notions of rebellion and freedom that had characterized the earlier years. The incident served as a cautionary tale about the consequences of unchecked rebellion and the fine line between counterculture and chaos. As the 1960s came to a close, the Hells Angels found themselves at a crossroads, grappling with the aftermath of Altamont and the challenges that lay ahead in the 1970s. As the 1970s dawned, the Hells Angels, under the leadership of Sonny Barger, found themselves navigating treacherous waters marked by increased scrutiny from law enforcement. The aftermath of the Altamont Speedway Free Festival had left an indelible mark on the motorcycle club's reputation, and legal challenges loomed on the horizon. Sonny Barger, no stranger to controversy, faced a series of legal battles that would test the resilience of the Hells Angels and their leader. The charges ranged from drug trafficking to conspiracy to commit murder, and the club's notoriety made them a target for law enforcement agencies eager to dismantle what they perceived as a criminal organization. In 1973, Barger and several other Hells Angels were indicted on charges of conspiring to blow up the clubhouse of their rivals, the Outlaws Motorcycle Gang. The trial that followed painted a vivid picture of the tensions and rivalries that simmered beneath the surface of the outlaw motorcycle club culture. Sonny Barger, representing himself in court, mounted a vigorous defense, maintaining that the Hells Angels were a brotherhood of motorcycle enthusiasts rather than a criminal organization. The trial, however, ended in convictions, and Barger received a 4-year prison sentence in 1973. This marked a significant chapter in the Hells Angels' history, as their leader faced incarceration, leaving the club to grapple with both internal and external challenges. While behind bars, Sonny Barger continued to exert influence over the Hells Angels. His time in prison became a testament to the enduring loyalty within the club and its resistance to outside pressures. The Hells Angels adapted to their leader's absence, maintaining their brotherhood and organizational structure despite the challenges posed by legal troubles. Barger's autobiography, Ridin' High, Living Free, Hell-Raising Motorcycle Stories, published in 2002, offers a glimpse into his experiences during this period. The book sheds light on the inner workings of the Hells Angels, both behind prison walls and on the streets where the motorcycle club continued to ride. The legal battles and imprisonment of Sonny Barger and other Hells Angels during the 1970s became a defining chapter in their history. It showcased the challenges and consequences of their rebellious lifestyle, as well as the club's ability to endure adversity. Despite the convictions and the increased scrutiny from law enforcement, the Hells Angels continued to ride on, their spirit unbroken. The 1980s saw Sonny Barger's release from prison, marking a new chapter in the Hells Angels saga. The club, weathered but unbroken, faced a changing landscape as they navigated the evolving dynamics of motorcycle culture and the persistent legal challenges that came with their outlaw status. The legacy of the legal battles and imprisonment would forever shape the Hells Angels' identity and contribute to their complex narrative in the annals of American subculture. The post-prison era marked a period of transition for both Sonny Barger and the Hells Angels. As the 1980s unfolded, the motorcycle club faced new challenges, and Barger himself entered a phase of his life that would come to define the latter part of his legendary journey. Released from prison in 1988, Sonny Barger returned to a Hells Angels undergoing changes within and outside its ranks. The outlaw motorcycle club culture was evolving, and the Hells Angels found themselves adapting to a shifting landscape while still upholding the rebellious spirit that had defined them since their inception. During this period, Sonny Barger's influence remained pivotal within the Hells Angels, even though he retired from the presidency in 2003. His leadership had left an indelible mark on the motorcycle club, shaping its identity as a brotherhood of rebels with an unwavering commitment to freedom, loyalty, and defiance against societal norms. Barger, however, took on a new role as an author, providing insights into the Hells Angels world through a series of books. His writings, including the aforementioned Ridin' High, Livin' Free, Hell-Raising Motorcycle Stories, offered a unique perspective on the inner workings of the motorcycle club, recounting tales of brotherhood, loyalty, and the challenges they faced over the decades. While the Hells Angels continued to ride and maintain their presence on the American cultural landscape, they also faced increased scrutiny from law enforcement and the broader public. The outlaw image that had once been romanticized was now juxtaposed against a changing society that viewed motorcycle clubs with a more critical eye. Sonny Barger's post-prison era was marked by a commitment to preserving the Hells Angels' legacy and maintaining their status as an iconic symbol of rebellion. His interviews, public appearances, and writings sought to humanize the motorcycle club, often emphasizing their camaraderie and shared passion for the open road. The Hells Angels, despite the challenges, continued to expand their influence globally, with chapters established in various countries. However, this global expansion also brought increased legal scrutiny and encounters with rival outlaw motorcycle clubs. The legacy of Sonny Barger and the Hells Angels remains a complex and enduring one. Their impact on American subculture, from the rebellious counterculture of the 1960s to the evolving dynamics of motorcycle culture in the 21st century, is undeniable. The motorcycle club's symbolism extends beyond its outlaw image, representing a unique blend of brotherhood, freedom, and resistance against societal constraints. As Sonny Barger's role shifted from active leadership to that of an elder statesman, the Hells Angels persisted as a cultural phenomenon. Their legacy, characterized by a defiant spirit that transcends generations, continues to capture the imagination of those fascinated by the mystique of the open road and the brotherhood forged in the crucible of rebellion. The post-prison era and the enduring legacy of Sonny Barger and the Hells Angels serve as a testament to the indomitable spirit that defines the outlaw motorcycle club culture. Ralph Hubert. Sonny Barger's life is a reflection of the tumultuous times in which he lived. From the rebellious spirit of the 1960s to legal battles and the changing landscape of motorcycle culture, Barger's journey with the Hells Angels is a complex narrative. His influence on the motorcycle club and its enduring legacy make him a central figure in the history of the Hells Angels and the counterculture movement. Despite the controversies and challenges, Sonny Barger remains an iconic figure who rode with the devil and left an indelible mark on American subculture. On June 29, 2022, Barger died of liver cancer aged 83 at his home in Livermore, California. Barger's funeral was held at a motorsports racetrack in Stockton on September 24, 2022. An estimated 7,000 people attended. I hope you all enjoyed this mini documentary about Sonny Barger. If you want to learn more, there is an Amazon link in the description where you can buy some books. I hope to see you all on the next documentary, and don't forget to like and subscribe.